draw?
That the most popular books only reach 2% of the population, which like takes a lot of pressure. And he was like, don't make your book takes a lot of pressure off. He's like, don't make your book, like your book isn't gonna be for everyone. Like there's no way, like don't write a book that you think is gonna be for everyone. You actually want a more micro audience, because books are micro whatever.
It kind of is like specialization.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because I've, like, through, learning about economics,
Mm-hmm.
They teach that Industrial Revolution was the result of specialization of tasks,
Mm-hmm.
where instead of one person doing something from start to finish, you have people just doing one thing and being very good at that one thing. And so it kind of speaks to that, where you're focused on one demographic or a specific audience,
Mm-hmm.
and you're honing into that audience before kind of being the jack of all trade audiences.
Right. And like he was just like, even like you never know what is gonna blow up and what is, but you're gonna at least sell 100 books, because 100 people who would buy your book because it's your book, and then they might tell people to buy it. So don't like get bogged down with like trying to reach everyone.
That's another thing, is when it comes to creation, when you're really passionate about something and you're just in the mode of creating, you're rarely ever worried about selling. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because then you're creating something that is authentic to what you want to make. And you can worry about the selling later, or, maybe it's not a product that is going to sell. And that's fine, but it's a stepping stone to your process and your thinking and developing whatever that craft is. But when you do overthink the selling aspect before you even create, it stifles your creativity, and then you don't take the same kind of risks and chances to make something.
That's right.
Do you find yourself, when you're writing, thinking about, well, how is this going to help position my book to be a good selling book?
Not really.
Exactly. You're writing the story, and you're like, ooh, that's a good idea. I want to add that, or I want to relate these ideas.
I think about it as if I was reading it, like with those words together excite me. If I get excited about it, then I know I'm doing something good, because like the books that I like, sometimes just like a phrase, a sentence, I'm like, ooh, that was a really good sentence. And like if there's like 5 of those in a book, I think that is like enough to make the impact that I'm like, oh, this person thinks in an interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
Plus there's a good story. Like, yeah, the story has to be interesting, but like I'm thinking about like, how can I connect these two things together? How can I make this theme broader? How can I like take in these concepts that have happened throughout my life, these little tiny micro like events, and like put them together so that they all paint this picture of like a theme and an idea and something that I do think about, like, can someone else relate to this, or is this like just a me thing? And like most of the time nothing is ever just a you thing.
Exactly,
like
yes.
You'll always find someone who is like, yeah, I did that, yeah, I ate gum off the ground too. Not me. That one did.
It was crunchy. I liked it.
But
it was like, ooh, it was basically a proof of concept, right? Someone chewed this gum and decided it was good, and then they left it on the ground for me to find. So obviously it must have been some good gum. Often it was like...
It was a free gift.
What's funny is like it was actually bland a lot of the time and flavorless.
Uh-huh.
And then it had like little bits of like pebble or cement in it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't really know what motivated me to do that.
See, but what's interesting is like, here's the concept. You said somebody paid for this thing and they enjoyed it, and now I can enjoy it. It's just like an idea, like somebody paid for this idea and they interpreted it and then they spit it out and now I'm enjoying it. Like, see?
I was reconstituting.
Yes. And now it's a little harder. It's a little bit less flavorful, but you still get the idea that it was a piece of gum and you still enjoyed it.
You know, I think at 4 or 5 years old, I probably wasn't thinking that hard about it. But boy did I love doing it.
And it's kind of like a little bit of a rebellion. Like, I'm not supposed to do this.
Definitely. I was basically making out with a bunch of strangers at
But it's like
5 and 6 years old.
Like, at least you didn't... There was a cat that was about to cross the road. Didn't, like, steal the gum from the store.
That's right. I was just stealing it off the ground. It's free.
Pre-loved. And now you like pre-loved things.
I do. It's been a common theme.
I like taking ideas and, like, making them. Like, how can this connect? How can this connect to something else? Like, it always excites me. I used to write poetry and, like, the last line...
we're at a...
Stand still. I always, like, made the last line, like, go full circle. So it, like, would take you on a journey and then the last line would, like, go full circle. And I think I do that with my writing, too. Like, I like to, like, leave a little bit and then, like, pick up at the end. But, like, all this other thing in between that just, like, paint the picture.
You know what? In public speaking class, that is so heavily emphasized that whatever it is you talk about at the beginning, you bring it back in at the end.
But not like in like bullet points.
Together.
Like, don't be like, okay, so this I did. Like, you have to like make it interesting.
Oh yeah, it has to be authentic.
Yeah.
It can't be in a sales pitchy type of way. Like, remember at the beginning when I said it was a great thing that I had invested in Microsoft. Well, guess what? I'm doing it today still. So you should do it. No, you have to be like, and in the end, love won us all over.
And then when you think...
And now I'm a 13-year-old prostitute.
And then when you can,
named
like,
Jacob Schwarzenegger.
you're in that mind frame of, like...
It's a real story, folks.
Taking these events that happen to you and, like, putting them in putting them in categories like, identity, belief system, expectations, failures, successes, like, if you, like, and then, like, think about what does this mean? How has this shaped me? Like, you start to look at all these things in a different perspective than without looking at them from an outside view, you know, like, just having them be things that happen to you. You are like, oh, all these things happened to me. This got me down because all these things happened to me. But when you're, like, having the mindset of, like, okay, well, but what does it mean? And how can I go from here? And how can I connect it with other things that have happened? And, like, make this something that you can prosper instead of, like,
weigh you down?
Yeah, one thing that I said in the book is that
dropping this year.
That
dropping in September.
What is it? Was it about shame? No, blame. It was blame. Blaming is admitting that you can't
take responsibility for it.
What is it? I forget. Yeah, so I forget the exact words, but it, like,
I liked where you were going. Blaming is admitting.
I need to find the words.
Admitting what? I need to know.
Blame is admitting that you can't overcome
Or accept.
or accept.
Now I'm trying to think about what I blamed someone for and what that means about myself.
Find them and I'll say them.
Wow, that was a really nice drive.
Now we gotta go package some things.
Thanks for tuning in, folks, on this episode of We're Driving Back from the Gym. And who knows what we're going to talk about. Today it was Erica's book and writing and creativity and shenanigans.
And appeasing audiences and
Deep breath.
just doing things. Just doing it. In that Seth Godin, the first thing he said is, should I write a book? Like the person asking. And he was like, that's that's a silly question because the answer is yes
Always.
If you feel like you should.
Well, it's so therapeutic to write.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be about yourself, but just...
And it doesn't need to be anything. It can just be the process of writing and getting it out on paper.
And when people say, I'm bad at writing, I'm like, what does that mean?
It just means you're
not
practiced. Yeah, exactly.
Which is true about anything.
You're not... I restructured the way that I look at things. And when there's kind of the tradition of being like, I'm not good at this, and ending it on that, no, period, you're solidifying that in your mind.
Right.
And it's a wall that it's a fake wall you're building.
Yeah.
But if you say, I'm not good at this yet, then you're saying there's a chance.
The opportunities.
You're giving yourself permission to explore it, instead of just shutting yourself down before you've even tried, which...
I think I have that
Doing that pivot, that mental pivot...
I always thought
like
people used to be like, I'm not good at that. And I'd be like, well, how do you know? Have you really tried? Or somebody would be like, I can't pull that off. If I was wearing something and they'd be like, I can't pull that off. I'd be like, what do you mean?
Have you tried wearing it?
Yeah, it's all in your head. I always thought that about fashion. I can't pull that off. I always was like, what? I don't understand that. I don't understand that concept. You wear what you want to wear. People are looking at our house. You wear what you want to wear.
It's not for sale. Can't have it.
And pulling off is it's if you feel good in the clothes. Now if you wear something and you don't feel good in it, then that
sure.
That's different. But people would be like, oh, I can never pull that off. And I'm like, just get it.
Just try.
Just try it. If you like it, try it.
Out. Yeah, and not being good at something, I always I try to bring it back to well, what are the things that I am good at, and why am I good at those things? Is it because I found them interesting? I spent a lot of time practicing it.
It's because you have the belief
and
that
I'm
you
motivated
can be
to
good
do
at
it. And I never put a barrier up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
No, you're just born naturally gifted.
Ha! Don't put up barriers, and don't let others put up barriers for you, because we're very susceptible to that easy out of others saying, it's okay that if you're not good at that, it's really hard. And it's like, you know what's really hard? Overcoming yourself.
The hardest.
That is the hardest thing.
It's the hardest, and it's the
hardest. And then ignoring
hardest.
other people trying to make it difficult for you.
It's the hardest thing you can do.
Yeah.
All right.
Much love.
Bye.
And
peace.
Subscribe and comment if you can relate. But who could relate to this? This is definitely just a you and me type thing, I'm sure.
Said everyone, but no one really meant it.
Gucci.